Professionally, he works as a commercial and contracts manager at Siemens Qatar. Toastmaster Abhishek, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Our next panelist is Toastmaster Vishwaja Faldesai. She is from the place where we all decide to go with our friends, but that plan never materializes. Yes, you guessed it right. She's from Goa. She's been a member of Toastmasters since March 2020 and is associated with International Center Goa Toastmasters Club. In these last 3 years, she served as the Secretary, Vice President Education, and President at the club level. She's also been a coach for Vasco Toastmasters Club. She was the area W2 winner in the International Speech Contest in 21-22, and she's the current reigning Evaluation Speech Contest champion of District 125. A software engineer by profession and a public speaker by passion. She says that stage is where I feel 100% alive, and I believe in words can create magic. Wow. Such inspiring words to start off with. Welcome, Toastmaster Vishwaja.
Thank you, Toastmaster Meenakshi. So happy to be here.
All right, let's dig right in. Let's just start with the basics. Toastmaster Abhishek, just before you begin an evaluation, just before the target speaker has begun his speech, what is the first thing that you do?
Good evening to all. Thank you for having me this evening. What I'm going to share is totally out of my own experience. So feel free to note it down, use it. And if you don't want, don't worry about it. The first thing that I recommend everyone to do, and which I, of course, do, is when the person is on the stage, the speaker is on the stage and is about to deliver the speech, I try to follow a 2-pen formula, a red and a blue. I ensure that I have these 2 pens ready with my sheet, and my sheet is demarcated. Okay, when you're allowed to do that, of course, sometimes you're not allowed to start before, but once the speaker starts, to at least demarcate positive points, not negative, to improve points, and summarization, and keywords. I demarcate my sheet in such a way that when I later come back and I want to read or refer to my notes or give an evaluation, I shouldn't be searching what I wrote, where I wrote, and maybe sometimes not understanding my own handwriting. So it's always nice to have a clean sheet where you have everything properly done. So when the speaker is on the stage, my first thing I would do is ensure my 2 pens are ready, my demarcation of my paper is ready. The second thing that I do is to stay absolutely calm. You know, when we come on the stage or we want to come up on the stage before speaking, or when we have someone on the stage waiting to speak, our human tendency is to think that, what is he going to talk about? What will be subject? Is he talking about drama, suspense? If we start thinking in those lines, we are already blocking our minds. The ability to absorb what the other person is going to speak is lost. So my suggestion, stay with an open mind, absolutely blank mind. Because only when you have a blank mind, you will be able to grasp what the person in front is about to speak to you. So that's my 2 suggestions before the speaker starts. Get your pens and your stationery ready in a nice way, because you have to respect your paper for it to respect back to you. And secondly, stay with an open mind, a blank mind, so that you can listen really carefully what's about to be spoken. Over to you.
Very well said. As they say, stationery and stay calm. Stay calm is something which is very difficult. It's like easier said than done, but we'll still keep that in mind. Toastmaster Vishwaja, during that 5 to 7 minutes of when your target speaker is speaking, what do you do?
So, Meenakshi, this is like the first time that I won the contest. And I'll tell you what happened while I was there at the contest. Okay, this is my first offline contest that I was attending. And I said the speaker started speaking, and I was prepared. I knew what I wanted to do. But in that nervousness, first 1.5 minutes, I just looked at the speaker and the people around me. That's it. I didn't know. whether that was a response to nervousness or what. Okay. So then what I did was I somehow had to get control of the situation. So I came up with this formula. All right. And I think this is what I've been telling in my other educational sessions also. This has really worked for me. I just picked up 2 lines for my opening and beginning conclusion from the speaker itself. Okay, so this is my formula, which is 1 plus 2 or 3 plus 2 or 3 plus 1. Okay. Then I picked up 2 or 3 words, which I felt were the strengths, and 2 or 3 words, which I felt I would give as the recommendation point and the concluding statement. If you see my page, it hardly had anything on it. So in those 5 to 7 minutes, and the best thing about this is even if you get nervous somewhere, if you do as an evaluator, you can pick these words from anywhere in the 5 to 7 minute span which you have. Okay. And plus it helped me memorize things also. It was clean, neat, and a couple of points here and there. So that's my quote, I'd say.
Very well said. Both, as they say, even before you begin your evaluation, when you are actually prepared, it's like well begun is half done. So 50% of the job already done here. Now coming to the time when you're actually delivering your evaluation speech. I think that's what most people here are waiting for. That precious 2 to 3 minutes that you have. So Toastmaster Vishwaja, hypothetically speaking, I'm a complete newbie who's delivering evaluation for the first time. So what are the top 2 knacks or tricks that you have for me?
For delivery?
Yes.
Question is for delivery, right?
Yes, yes. During your 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay. So first of all, Toastmaster Meenakshi, don't experiment on the final day. Practice a little bit in advance so that you get the hang of time. If you see 2 to 3 minutes are neither too much nor it is less. Okay. So sometimes people spend a lot on the strengths. They don't have time for recommendations. And sometimes they keep talking about the recommendations until it's 3:30 and so on, right? So what I would suggest is it is like a speech. So have your beginning, which is 1 minute, then again another minute on your strengths, and 30 seconds on your strengths, and another 1 minute on your recommendation. So this is the first point, but practice this well in advance so that you can perform that day. And secondly, know what project you're going to evaluate. There are different projects in Toastmasters and people are not aware. The speaker itself is not aware, the evaluator is not aware. They give any sheet, they submit any project criteria. So prepare it well in advance. Even if the speaker is not shared, ask the person about it. Please do it.
Yes, very well said. Actually, we also go through that a lot where the evaluator doesn't know what objective that he needs to evaluate. So that is something that is very important and a very important takeaway. Toastmaster Abhishek, now coming to the most important thing that we are all excited here to hear from you. One of the most awaited questions, that is your top 2 pointers from a contest perspective.
Top 2 tips that you can think
Yes.
of, right? That's what we're looking for. Before I say that, there's a little bit background I want to say.
Yeah.
Evaluation, as you correctly started saying, that evaluation is just not an opportunity to deliver something, but it's an art and it's with a lot of responsibility. It is something that you're going to give to a person to cherish for the efforts they have put in over a period of time in delivering a project. You have to remember that a project is prepared not on the spot like a table topic. A 5 to 7 minute speech goes in for weeks together to prepare, maybe months together sometimes. We as evaluators or anyone as an evaluator does not have a right to come out on the stage and destroy that particular the effort that has been put in those 2 to 3 minutes. Keeping that in mind, my first tip will be ensure that whenever you're giving an evaluation, you have something in the back of your mind, and that is the only reason we are evaluating a speech is to evaluate to motivate. That is the sole reason we as evaluators are there, or to give our feedback. We are not someone to pass a comment. We are not critics to tell you that things have been absolutely wrong. We are here to encourage you. Telling someone no or that you're wrong is a very difficult task. It's very difficult for us to grasp that someone is telling us that I'm wrong, right? We have our own egos for that. So imagine the evaluation, the feedback is exactly similar thing. You're telling someone what the person has done wrong, and you're expecting the person to actually accept it. It's not an easy task. It's an art. So keep this in mind, evaluate to motivate. Because when you have that, everything that you will do later after this will be with the motive of motivating the particular speaker and not to criticize. That's my first tip, evaluate to motivate. The second thing that I would always say, we say that we don't evaluate the speaker, we evaluate the speech of the speaker. We always say that, right? But it has a deeper meaning to it. It is not just that you evaluate the speech as in a content, but you customize your particular evaluation to the speech that was delivered on the 5 to 7 minutes that was in front of you. Do not take the credentials of the speaker. The speaker might be the World Championship of Public Speaking, but on that day, on that particular topic, how has he delivered the speech in 5 to 7 minutes? That's what you're doing there. So customize it to a level that he or she, whenever he is listening to that particular evaluation, feels that this guy actually listened to my speech. Don't make generic sentences, because that's a very normal, general evaluation. Customize your evaluation, taking, and I used the word keywords before, if you remember when I told you to jot down, keywords from the speech that was delivered. Let's say someone is talking about their school life. I'm sure they're going to use a lot of places about friends. They're talking about the names of the friends. They're going to talk about a lot of facts. Take these characters, take these names, take these features, part of your evaluation. And when you give it back, that's why you're customizing the particular evaluation, which makes much more sense to the speaker when he's taking it. So my 2 tips, evaluate to motivate and customize your evaluation. Back to you.
Very well said. I think we will remember this. We are jotting this down, evaluate to motivate and customize. Toastmaster Vishwaja, same question to you. You are in a contest. What are your top 2 tips? You already mentioned about the taking some tips, again, as Toastmaster Abhishek mentioned, taking words from the speech itself. And you also mentioned to us about the timing. How do you manage the 2 to 3 minutes? But anything else from a contest point of view?
Yes. So, as Toastmaster Abhishek rightly said, you are evaluating to motivate that person. So for me, evaluations have always been about being empathetic towards the person. Sometimes people go on the stage and they speak about things that have moved, changed their lives. It's a very impactful thing. But when you go on the stage, it amplifies those emotions and the person becomes, vulnerability shown. So you have to be very empathetic towards that person. That's my first point that I would say. And also, do not give shallow evaluations. That is surface level scratching by saying general things. Your voice modulation should be better. Your gesture should be better. This should be better. If you have noticed something in the speech, give an example of how you will do it. How do you feel gesture should be better? What would you do if you were in that place? Now, it is up to the speaker to take your evaluation, of course. But when you show an how of how it is to be done, the speaker gets something to work on from the very next speech itself. It's not very superficial, right? So even if it's voice modulation, you can show how it is done. Even if it is any other point, you can give some workable tips during that evaluation that makes it even more valuable. So 2 things, empathy and example.
Thank you. Very well said. Toastmaster Abhishek, 7-time district champion. How do you feel, first of all?
That's an amazing feeling. Every time I go up, they say, why once again? I tell myself, I'm competing against myself. I want to see how did I improve in the last 1 year. And that's what been my motivation that, okay, people are complaining a little bit that I'm not giving them opportunity, but I like to see it in a different way that I've tried to improve myself. Let's say I'm every time experimenting. I reached a level where I try to do things in different ways and try to see what is working and not. So yeah, it feels great. I love to go back. I'm looking forward for the next year actually.
So you said that every time you try to experiment something. So over the last 7 years, what do you think has changed in your own evaluation process?
You have to look at it in a different way where how Toastmasters and how the concept of Toastmastering has evolved in the last 7 to 10 years. I've seen that people have now actually the speakers who have really gone deep into the speech module to give us particular speech, they are not asking any, looking for any white, feedback which is only to please them. They look for genuine points. They are open to take criticism, which is a very good sign. I mean, this is something that shows that speakers are ready to improve. Before, it was kind of a taboo thing to even say, to tell them in a very blunt way how to improve. But now they're taking it in a much more positive way, which is good because evaluators will have a little bit more freedom to use a little bit strong point, which makes a case. So over the years, what I've tried to do is try to push a little bit boundary to see what is acceptable and what is not. So yes, before it was very straightforward evaluation that you tail the points, good points, bad points, and close the whole thing. But now it is changed to a lot that it's just not about good and bad points. You have to really go down and I come back to the first point. You have to really go that extra mile to motivate the speaker because he is just not satisfied with the evaluation that you've given him. He needs something to charge him up next time to become better. So I think what I've changed for myself also over the last few years, and I've seen others do it as well, is that they have included this component of motivating the speaker towards the end of their evaluation, which I believe is a very important aspect of any evaluation. Before, if you talk about the sandwich method, we used to say the good points, the bad points, and I know some more good points to finish. But the last good point has changed now. It's more of to ensure that you have really made a difference in the person's life in those 2 to 3 minutes. So I think that's what I would say has changed in the last 7 years.
So just to follow up to that, any specific experience from your last 7 years which you feel that, oh, I should have done this differently at that point in time?
Absolutely. There's something that I tried once. I did it. It was quite successful, but the problem is it doesn't present you with an opportunity every time. And you'll understand when I say what I'm about to say. It is funny sometimes that what I'm about to say, you will think of it, how can it be? But that's fact. Evaluation is a very, serious topic, right? But try to bring humor in evaluation. The very word of humor in evaluation itself will make you sound crazy. How can you bring humor in? Trying to evaluate someone, you want to bring humor? The fact is, how do you teach children? You teach children by, in a nice way, talking to them in a funny way. You talk to them in a humorous way. And that's exactly the level that you need to go down. Put some humor in your evaluation to make it's not making fun of the person in front of you. It's just to make the temperament calm, a relaxed atmosphere where your message is well taken. See, as I told you, when you're telling someone that to improve, you're actually hitting his or her very sensitive part, where they're emotionally, emotion is where you're going to play with. So if you can get the tension free in the room, make it very jovial, that things are accepted much more better. I think that's what I would definitely, I tried every time, but we don't get, as I said, evaluation doesn't give you an opportunity to use humor most of the time. But if you do have an opportunity, try to use it. That's what I do.
Thank you. Moving on, Toastmaster Vishwaja, I would like to ask you one very important question. What if the target speaker starts speaking about a topic which you are very uncomfortable with? I'll elaborate. For example, if that speaker has started using technical jargons and you don't understand anything from that field, how does your approach change?
I had a hunch you'll ask me this, Meenakshi. So I prepared the answer, but my example is slightly different. Okay. And this is my example personally. So I don't want anybody to get offended here. This one time, the speaker spoke about eating beef. Okay? The speech was about eating beef. And personally, for me, I was not very comfortable with that speech at all. Even though I'm a non-vegetarian, this is a territory that I would not want to dive deeper into. So now in Toastmasters, and then his speech was obviously connecting to the political aspect of what happens when people eat beef. So what I did was, and the meeting was going on. There was no chance for me to interrupt him, cut him off, or tell him that no, I'm not evaluating his speech now. Everybody was just looking at me to say something. So what I did was, I subtly hinted that topics like religion, politics, and sex are not to be discussed in a platform like Toastmasters because here it's a very supportive environment to enhance public speaking. Okay? But I still evaluated how the person was interested in speaking about the topic and how he had structured the content. Not about the content, but the book, the call to action that he gave, and the transitions between the paragraphs that he had, and also on his delivery, which were the clear points which are mentioned in our sheet also, our evaluation sheet also. So one thing you need to do is not personalize what the person is saying. It is not a personal comment which would hurt you. And even if it's a technical jargon, like I've noticed many speakers talk about facts, especially in a research-oriented project, right? Your job is to see how the person has structured the content and how the person has delivered. These two things is what I do. I don't let it personally affect.
Here, I would like to add, in one of our area contests also, a very similar thing happened where the target speaker actually spoke about the importance of sex education. Not being very offensive again, but it was very uncomfortable for a lot of speakers who were participating in the contest. So that's where I got this question from. You know, it could be that you don't connect to the topic. So how do you approach the evaluation to that? So Toastmaster Vishwaja, I would like to ask a follow-up to this, exactly contradictory to this. What if there is a topic and you know in and out about the topic? Like this is like, you know, the topic like the back of your hand. How does your approach change then? You wouldn't want to bias the topic with your own, former knowledge that you have.
Okay, so this is a very interesting question. This is something that I know very well. And obviously, when the person starts speaking, if he or she is speaking right, I will be agreeing with that person. The moment he says something, different than what I know, my natural instinct is to contradict that or just say that, research well or something like that. But again, as I said, I wouldn't dive deeper into what the person has written, the content, because again, that is his own personal example, personal research. I would still focus on how the structuring of the content is and how the delivery is. However, if I feel that the person that there's like a polar opposite contradiction to what I know and what the person is speaking, I would maybe emphasize on the fact that the person should research a bit thoroughly. That's in a line or so. Not point out the finger that this is wrong. This is what you need to change. Nothing of that sort.
Thank you so much. Toastmaster Abhishek, my next question to you is, what do you say is your biggest challenge in any evaluation? I know it's a difficult question to ask a 7-time champion. I mean, what could be the challenge? But we would really like to know.
Trust me, when you're the 8th speaker in 8 speakers, when you're the last speaker, you always have a challenge because others have mostly spoken everything. So where do you get something from? I believe the biggest challenge in any evaluation is to find something unique on the speaker, which 90% of the other evaluators will miss out. See, if you're the 8th speaker on a panel of 8 contestants, the 8th contestant, let's say, and if you can come up with that one point which is unique, trust me, you're the winner that day. Because the others would have spoken the same thing over and over. Judges would have been already bored. but you come at the last and come out with something which is something very unique, which others have really missed out. So what I'm trying to say is when you note down your points and go to speak about the points, try to avoid the very common points which probably everyone will notice. Try to look, have them. I'm not saying don't have them, but I'm saying try to look for something which is unique to that particular speaker on that speech that he has delivered, he or she, and how that can be improved. If you can come with that, I think that day you're a winner. And that for me is the biggest challenge in any evaluation. I always look for those parts, because everything can be spoken. What is easy to find, everyone can find a way to speak about it. But something that is unique is always a challenge. So that's the challenge I would say for myself.
So you spoke about being the 8th person in the contest. We've had club contests where there are 16, 17 members
Oh my God.
participating. So imagine if
So
you
we
were
can-
the 18th contestant, the last contestant. So just to follow up, how do you make that one substantial difference? You said finding something unique in that speech, which probably the 17 others would have ignored. But how do you find that one substantial differentiating point?
So you don't know it's unique till the time you finished your speech and come out and someone tells you, wow, that's something no one told about. So you don't know it's unique. So you cannot prepare like that. But what I'm trying to say is look at very minute details, very small details, which will easily miss out on anyone's eye, but probably has a very big impact on the speech that has been delivered. I had a speech for which I was doing the evaluation. The speaker was talking about lifting her baby. The point was, everyone saw the action, everyone talked about that. The only point I could put in, because I was the last speaker, is that wish you had a cradle there to rock the baby, and then you could pick up the baby from there. And that was a unique point on that particular day, and it made all the difference, because when you're representing something, how you don't pick up a baby from the ground, you pick it up from somewhere. So it's also showing them, because she was talking about mother and child's relation. So it shows the deepness of how the mother is caring about the child. So find something, which I'm sure in every speech you'll find something unique, very close to the speech, which can alter the speech itself. The emotions of the speech can be altered by that particular one finding. I mean, that will make a lot of sense.
So look for minutest of details, which probably
Absolutely.
other people would have missed.
Absolutely.
Toastmaster Abhishek, you mentioned that you work at Siemens. Linking that to evaluation, doing so many evaluations over the last 7 years, how do you feel that doing evaluations has impacted your life outside Toastmasters? Either your personal life or your professional life?
Yeah, don't limit only to work life. It's also in the personal life at home. It has helped. It has actually really helped. And this is what I was analyzing myself about a few days back, that even in work or be it at home, when we talk to people and we want to put a message across, I really think twice or thrice the way I'm going to put it across. It's sometimes, when you have to tell your kid to study and probably, you're not happy with the marks, but you want to talk about it. How do you do that? You do it in a nice feedback form where you're not demoralizing the person in front of you. You have to tell a colleague about something that he has done wrong. The worst of it is you need to terminate someone. How do you do that? You do that in a lovely feedback way, where actually the person will walk out of the room feeling, yes, I was valued in this company, but whatever the reason is, I was let to go. We have this moral obligation, I think all of us we have, through this evaluation format that we learn in Toastmasters, to use that in our regular life, to see how impactful it is, how it can change someone's life. The way you give a feedback is very important. It has helped me to change my life. I'm sure it has touched most of your lives as well.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Toastmaster Vishwaja, what about you? How has evaluation impacted outside Toastmasters?
I'll be honest with you, Toastmaster Meenakshi. I was very short-tempered a couple of years back. Okay, so I would say the instant thing that comes up to my mind, if I like it, I'd say I like it. If I don't like it, I'd just be like, oh, what is this? Change it. It's not nice. So now what has happened is I've learned this style of, assertive communication, I would say, trying to achieve a win-win. Even when you're in a leadership position and you want it to be a certain way and your teammates want it to be a certain way, right? How do you put it across so that you get what you want and they get what they want? So this is what comes from that CRC. You can wrap it up nicely in this, good points, and then a few couple of changes, and then overall, oh, you did a good job, right? So this is a certain communication which has helped a lot in personal life, and in professional life. I think when you understand the importance of feedback, not only you become good at giving feedback, you also become good at receiving feedback. Approach someone and ask them for feedback for yourself to grow, and you understand that this is because they want for you to grow, right? You don't take it too personally. So that's what helped me in my professional life also. I used to approach my mentors, ask for feedback from them. It has helped me.
Also, the fact that you mentioned that you need to very specifically say, not give generic comments that, you need to do this better. You need to do this better. How? By showing it to them. I think that is one important thing that will, improve by giving evaluations, both in our personal as well as professional lives. So last question for both of you, and after that we can open the floor to the audience. The last question is that if you have any material or any resources that you want us to go through, it could be some YouTube video of some champion in some district or some reading material, please feel free to recommend it to all of us.
I sometimes do the modules, so I have a presentation of my own which I've prepared over the years. I'll share it with you so you can share it with the people. That's fine.
Thank you so much. So we now have, Toastmaster Vishwaja.
I'll share it with you. There are a couple of videos which I look at whenever evaluations come. Whenever the contests are around, I look at these videos. I'll share them with you. If they really help me, then you can circulate.
Yes, because contests are around for us as well. I think people will definitely look at those videos. Thank you so much. Now the floor is open to the audience. If you have any questions. Yes, Toastmaster Yasmin.
Yes, thank you so much. So I would love to ask the panelists that there are many Toastmasters while evaluating. They use acronyms, like they take up something and they take up acronyms. So I just want to know that is it really necessary for us as speakers to use acronyms while evaluating a contest, like your speech was full of soul, SOUL, and then they'll just highlight each one of them, and I'm a person who doesn't have the courage to do so, so I'm just very much stressed about that. So is it really necessary, or you can have your own style?
You can go first.
Yeah.
You want? Okay. I have no clue about this acronyms myself, and I think I've done quite successful in the evaluation. So don't worry about all these things. What it is comfortable for some people. Some people, they like to do it like that because that's their way of making it easy for you to understand. PASS, SOUL, as you said, something like that. I mean, it's how they feel is going to connect them with the audience. If that's not comfortable for you, don't do it. Make it as simple as possible. No one is targeting any jargons over here. We want to make life as simple as possible. So no, you don't have to. Short answer to your question is no, you don't have to stay with the acronyms.
Thank you.
I'll add on to this.
Yeah, please.
So for the contest this time, I was contesting with, I think, other 5 contestants, out of which 3 of them had used acronyms. Okay. And I feel that it is not the acronyms which get you the prize. It's overall how you put it. I had done like a normal CRC evaluation, no acronyms. I didn't even know that it existed, to be honest. I came to know after people said, you did a CRISP evaluation, and I asked them what is CRISP, and they said, oh, no acronyms, right? So I didn't even know that existed in the first place. So it's totally all right. You do what is comfortable for you, but keep the empathy part, the empowerment part, the motivation part properly in your evaluation. It's the crux of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next question, Toastmaster Amit.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. So this question is to Meenakshi and both the panelists. So my question is, can we see both of them in action now? Is it possible to do a short speech and get an evaluation and see how they evaluate the speech, time permitting?
This is a question for the convener, actually, Toastmaster Sanjeev.
Yes, Toastmaster Sanjeev, please.
It's a very good question. And I wish we could, but unfortunately, due to the lack of time, we won't be able to do that.
Okay, fair enough. We hope to see any videos of yours. If there is any video available online, maybe we can have a look of how you both evaluate.
I can go a mile extra to say that if you can organize another session like this to have a test speaker, we are well. At least for myself, I'm willing to go ahead and give an evaluation. It was one of my thoughts also I had, that we can talk a lot, but if we see the action, probably it'll send the message better. So if you all have a chance, I'm ready anytime you need
Point
me.
noted, Abhishek. We'll plan something and come back. But then point taken. We'll do something with that. And Amit, thanks very much for flagging that.
Thank you.
Can I just speak? Amit, we will be having evaluation playground coming up soon. We'll definitely invite them again so that we can see them in action, which will help us.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Toastmaster Sanjeev, you raised your hand.
Yeah. So my question is to both of you. Both of you mentioned about you evaluate the speech and not the speaker, right? Now, how does that work when you see if you've not heard the speaker before, then yes. But if sometimes it happens that you've heard that person speaking before. In that case, how do you get rid of that bias that, oh, I know this person, oh, he was brilliant last time. How do you start with a blank slate then?
Sure.
So Toastmaster Sanjeev, you are in a specific mood today, right? Do you feel tomorrow you'll be in the same mood? Question.
No.
At the same time tomorrow, will you be in the same mood?
No.
All right. So we operate with different variables, and accordingly, the way we deliver on that particular day changes. That is why speakers who are brilliant might not win a contest on one specific day because it's just not their day. But you, as an evaluator, you know that you're evaluating that day's performance. And even though that person is a DTM with so many years of experience, of course, that makes that person a brilliant speaker. That day, his performance will be different. And that, for me, helps me to differentiate the bias. So I was saying that helps me to keep aside my bias and focus on that performance. Do you?
Yeah, for me, it's we have all heard about this term used, the halo effect, and this is something that drives us to biasness. How much of a good the speaker is, you have to differentiate, and this is a conscious attempt that you have to make to differentiate the speaker from the speech. And that's why I said, when you start writing the speech, or when you start listening to the speaker, try to have an absolute blank mind. Don't have the inhibitions of what he has done prior to the speech. Just think of what the 7 minutes he's going to talk. He might be the best speaker in the world, as I said, but those 7 minutes is all that you have to evaluate for. So it's a conscious effort. It will definitely not come in 1 or 2 days. It's years of practice, months of practice, conscious practice that you have to do to ensure that you only evaluate the speech on that particular day that has been given to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Toastmaster Sumit, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Yes, please. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So my question to the evaluators is, see, over a period of time, we have seen the amount of drama which has come in speech delivery. I mean, it started with something very different. If we see the 2014 speech, and and what we saw this time, and some time back there was again a speech which was about 3 stages in my life that lady had delivered. There's a whole lot of drama which has come in. Now that drama is kind of taking your attention away from the speech. A speech, if I remember from my school, was evaluated on the words, the grammar, the delivery part of it. How do you cut the shaft? How do you move out of this drama and really evaluate? And how much of this drama really plays up when you come to evaluation? Both the evaluators, please. Thank you.
Shall I go first?
Yes, yes.
Okay. First, let us try to understand why the speaker is doing the drama. What is his or her real intention behind the drama? And that's a very important aspect as an evaluator, because my belief is the drama is always done to drive the message home, to let the audience understand what the person is trying to say. Now, sometimes it is absolutely unnecessary. It distracts the audience, and I do understand that, and I believe you're right on that. I myself am against this drama things on the stage. But also you have to look at it in a different way. The speech probably requires that bit of drama to be there for it to be delivered in that particular way. So again, when you're looking at the evaluating the particular speech, think on a way that if you were delivering that particular speech, maybe you also would do the drama yourself, because there's no other way to deliver that message without doing that particular act. So don't, again, mentally block yourself to say the person is doing drama, is out. No, just give him a chance. Maybe the drama is required for that particular message to be given. In general, I think it is not required. A message given out in a proper wording, in a proper delivery style, with the correct voice modulation and gestures is more than enough for a message to be driven home. But if someone is doing something acts, let's respect the person to say, maybe he has a reason. Well, if he doesn't have, tell him very openly, sorry, I don't think your speech needs a drama. You can do it in a different way. That's my take on it. Vishwaja?
Glad you took this question first. This is a very hot topic nowadays. So, Toastmaster Sumit, one time in my evaluation, I got a graph. Okay, so the evaluator drew a graph, and the person said that, Vishwaja, your speech should start, it should have a character arc. So you talk about something, it rises to the peak, and then you deliver the message. And then I went home and I thought about it, because never did I got a graph in my evaluation. Okay, so what the person was trying to say is that before delivering your message, you should have a build-up. Then when you deliver the message, audience really accepts what you're giving them. Okay. Now, if you see some people, they have used drama as a technique to have that build-up. And it is just their personality. I've had mentees who use drama. They've been trained in theater. So they use drama as a way in which they communicate. And when they do it, it seems very organic. There is nothing wrong in that, even though it is a speech. Okay? But then there are some people, there are some speakers who have learned these techniques, and when they do it, it seems forced. How do you know it's forced? The moment you listen to this person for more than 2 minutes, you feel something is not fitting well. Our brain is very sharp that way. It takes in all the body language cues. Okay? You feel that the person is trying to say something in a way, but you are not accepting. There's resistance. So I personally feel that if drama is your organic style, okay, and it makes you deliver the message authentically, go ahead. But if it is something that you've learned and it feels, not unnecessary, then as an evaluator, you can point it out.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Toastmaster Sumit, hope your question is answered. Thank you. We have one question in the chat from Toastmaster Khushbu. I'll just read it out. Many emphasize focusing on minute details, but is it wise to neglect and completely overlook crucial observations? Toastmaster Abhishek, would you like to take that first?
Yes, minor details are important, and we are not saying that don't look at the the ones that is crucial ones. We're not saying that, but what we're trying to say is the crucial ones are the ones that everyone will notice. So what makes you stand apart from the rest of the crowd is those minute ones which are going to be missed out. So when you're preparing a speech evaluation, have a bag full of everything, the important ones, the crucial ones, and then also the minute ones. You're not talking only minute ones, because then it will become very, I don't know, it will not make sense because you're trying to find out something small which it doesn't. But try to have a mix of everything. Have these small things like the trump cards, which probably you give the same one and then you take out one small minute detail which is completely different from the rest. Makes a difference. So we're not saying don't speak about the crucial ones, but the minute ones have their own places. Keep them in the bag, just use them as a trump card.
Toastmaster Vishwaja, would you like to add something to that?
Yes, I feel minute details also depend on you as a speaker, as in what you do as a speaker, what you have learned as a speaker. Based on that only you notice. For example, the prop thing that Toastmaster Abhishek told, he props, or he must be liking the use of props, or there must be a different way of approaching that problem, right? That's why he came up with that solution. So when you select something like this, it gives the audience and even the judges an idea that you are a speaker who knows, who has prepared in advance. So what I do is, he rightly said, I say two things which are critical, crucial observations. I'll not miss that. And then one pointer I will give my own, something which I would have.
So it's all about striking a balance between the minute and the crucial. Thank you. Madam PQD, you have raised your hand.
Yes, I have a follow-up from Sumit's question. Speakers going theatrical, I can understand, but even evaluators start going theatrical. They start doing all their hand gestures, start using the stage. Do you really recommend using that kind of an approach while evaluating? Really helps? Or is that something that is advisable to do, or that should not be?
For me, evaluation, sorry, I'm going first, Vishwaja, on that question. Evaluation for me is a very formal process and doesn't need any kind of drama whatsoever. So if someone is doing that, it itself is, because you're not driving a new concept, you're telling the person what to improve upon. It's part of the speech that you have already listened to, and you're giving your feedback on that. So it doesn't need any kind of drama or theatrical show on the stage. But when we say even gestures or movements on the stage, I think all of us, we always say this, that do it with a purpose. And I would like to reemphasize that as well, that when you do a theatrical act on the stage, do it with a purpose. If you're doing it just for the sake of doing it, because you think that will make you get extra points, well, you're absolutely wrong on that. It will actually make the whole sequence of your speech be lost. As an evaluator, in 2 to 3 minutes, there is no need for any kind of drama. You have only 2 to 3 minutes. In that, you have to give an introduction, you have to give the gist, your recommendation, you have to summarize, you have to motivate. You're doing so many things in 2 to 3 minutes. Forget the drama. Make your messages heard well in the right words. And that's, I think, is important. So I don't think the evaluators should think of doing dramas anywhere on the stage. Vishwaja?
I agree with Toastmaster Abhishek. I don't feel that there's need for theatrics in evaluation. However, I feel that evaluation is a performance, a speech in itself. You should structure it like your opening, body, conclusion. And if, say, I'll tell you my example. I'm organically a person who would add voice modulation, use gestures, would move around. Okay, and if I try to restrict myself, I think it restricts my communication. Okay, so I will not overdo it, of course. But if it is something which I can, this is my organic style of talking to people, my motive is to deliver my points that I've taken from the speech, the speaker and the audience. That's what I will focus on. And then just do it in my normal audience. So, but I will put it like a, like a speech. That's it.
I think to add to your point, Toastmaster Vishwaja, Toastmaster Yasmin has mentioned that is evaluation a performance in itself? So something on the lines that you said that, organically, if you are a person who uses a lot of hand gestures, it is a performance in itself.
I feel it's a performance.
All right. I'll take one last question. It is from Toastmaster Amit. So one district champion to another. Has evaluations helped you become better speakers? And if so, how have you used your evaluation skills in improving as a speaker?
Should I go first?
I'll read the question again. Has evaluations helped you become a better speaker? How have you used your evaluation skills in improving as a speaker? Yes. Evaluations have helped me to become a better speaker because, this concept is very, if you see, when you have to advise somebody else, you suddenly become the most knowledgeable person in the world. And when you're talking to yourself, when you have to guide yourself, you sort of hesitate or you don't come up with fresh perspectives. So sometimes after an evaluation, and since I have the points written, I look up the points and I see whether I can use the same thing in my further speeches. Okay. So that is how it has helped me become a better speaker. And I've read it 3 times. How have you used your evaluation skills? Yeah, I think that is what it is. So when I start noticing things in the other speaker, I try and evaluate if this can be used in my speech ability.
Amitji, to answer your question, Dronacharya cannot be big, was the teacher, but he couldn't be better than Arjuna. So even if you think that you are both, be an evaluator and a better speaker, probably it's mathematically not mathematically possible, but realistically it doesn't. So even if I deliver a speech and evaluate my own self, I find hundreds of faults. When I redo the speech again, I still find another 100 faults. So the saga goes on. The point I would like to say a little bit differently, and since this is a panel on evaluation, I always say that to be a good evaluator, you need to be first a very good speaker. Because you need to understand the pain, the efforts of the speaker to appreciate and understand how an evaluation has to be given. So yes, evaluation makes us a better speaker, but a better speaker makes a better evaluator because he can really put the word across in the way it has to be understood by any speaker. You have to feel that, get in the shoes of the person, and feel the not only just the emotions. It's a lot of things that goes on the stage when a speaker is speaking, and those emotions, those kind of efforts that's been put in, have to be appreciated at a different level altogether. And as evaluators, we have a moral obligation to do that. Hope I've answered your question, Amitji. A little bit deviated, but I think to the
Thank you so much for the answer. We have 2 more hand raised and we are already at 10, but I think we can take these last 2 questions. Toastmaster Sridhar, if you could ask your question, but to any one of these 2 panelists.
It would be unfair to mark it to any one of them. Both are extremely good evaluators. So I don't want to evaluate them at this point of time. My question here is, I've seen evaluators at pains to find feedback when they've come across such a good speaker. Is it so necessary to give feedback when everything is good? Any one of them can answer.
Can I take this one?
Please go ahead.
Go ahead, please.
So, Toastmaster Sridhar, I feel that in the essence of an evaluation, the reason that you're listening to the evaluator is so that you can find some points of feedback for you to work on your next speech and also get motivated to work on something. Even if the speaker is par excellence, amazing, I still feel that you should at least find one of the recommendations you give them. And see it as an opportunity. If you are evaluating an excellent speaker, you yourself have to be equipped with techniques that will make them even more brilliant, right? So in that way, your process, your journey as a speaker is improved. So I feel that you should be giving recommendations, at least minimum.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the question and for the answer. We'll take one last question, Toastmaster Tushar.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So I had one question that, sometimes I feel the speech was not that good, but you have to appreciate the speaker because you don't want to hurt the sentiments of the speaker. And you have to be empathetic, or you have that, I have to evaluate him. Like, what should be our take?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. I would say it in two different ways. One is if you're at a club level and the person is really next to your friend who's a Toastmaster, evaluate him in a way that he needs to learn how to improve, in a very, very open way, to tell him, this is where your mistakes are. You really need to go ahead. Because I'm talking about a very friendly level where people really accept this kind of hard evaluations. But if you're at a contest where you've got a speech at contest level, I don't expect this test speaker to be so bad. But if you do come across a test speaker who is not that up to the mark, you have to understand that you're going to give him a lot of things to improve. If you do not give him a little bit good things, then he is not going to digest what you're going to about to tell him. While taking the hard pill, the bitter pill, we always need that little bit of sweet before, right? To make our mind a little bit fresh, the mouth a little fresh. It's the same way. You have to give him some points. I'm sure on that particular worst speech the person has given, he has done one or two things good. I'm sure you'll find something. Take those 1 or 2 points, emphasize on that. Don't harp upon it. Just tell him that he has done a good job. What I would recommend over there is to say something which is very, what should I say? It is not something more philosophical, where to say that I do trust that you're a wonderful speaker. There's a great amount of potential in you. These things are not from the speech. These are about the character of the person, about his ability. You're talking about motivating the person. So go ahead and tell him that these are the things that I believe that you can do it. So don't lose hope. Write it down again. Practice it once again. There's a champion speaker in you. End it in a way that the person will really appreciate it. So I'm sure when you have a bad speaker also, you'll find some good points to talk to.
Thank you.
Over to you,
Thank
Meenakshi.
you so much. Thank you. And that brings us to an end of today's session. Toastmaster Abhishek, Toastmaster Vishwaja, it was an honor to have you on the panel today. We are immensely grateful that you were able to carve out the time to spend with us. And thank you so much for sharing your invaluable insights and helping today's Wednesday Wisdom to be a great success. We look forward to seeing you at many more events. As Toastmaster Amit has said, we want to see you in action. So looking forward to that. And now to the person without whom this wouldn't have been possible, the man of the hour, the convener of today's event, Toastmaster Sanjeev. Thank you so much for providing me this opportunity to moderate the panel. I thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Meenakshi. And thank you once again. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Abhishek and Toastmaster Vishwaja, for taking time out and sharing your insights with us. We have posted the feedback form for the session on the chat. Please feel free to provide your feedback please ensure you provide your feedback onto that link. With that, we will adjourn today's session. Then we will be back again. You will hear from us for the next session, which will be on September 13th. That's Wednesday Wisdom 3. And you will hear from us for that session pretty soon. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for taking time out today, and take care.
Thank you for having us on this panel. It was a wonderful session as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
everybody.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.